after the fight. I'm having my morning coffee. It's Sunday, and I'm just, figured I would throw a quick update out there on the main card since we've been covering it pretty much throughout the weekend. Coverage started with me and Ray Flores on Xtreme Lyfe 57. And then, I put out a brief thing yesterday before the little add-on before the events. And then, of course, last night we all watched the fights, and checked out the action. A lot of good moments, a lot of interesting moments. Very, the trolls are already out this morning. It's kind of interesting reading some of the threads and what people have to say. So I just figured I would do a real quick, not very long little thing this morning. It may be a regular thing that I start doing after the fights, particularly with the UFC events. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, something I'm trying. So let's get right into it. Let me see if I can share this with you here. Let me try, and we'll go here, and it should work. Hopefully, we'll see. I hope that works. Anyway, so let's look at Thiago Santos versus Alexander Rakic. Unfortunately, this fight to me did not live up to its expectations. I had a whole lot of high hopes for this fight. I thought it was going to be full of action. It was the first fight on the main card. A lot of people, thought that this was going to be a really good fight. Unfortunately, there wasn't a lot going on. The whole fight kind of went on. It went the distance. Rakic won a unanimous decision. But it just wasn't a very strong showing for either of these contenders. I thought Rakic would have come in a little stronger. I thought Thiago Santos had wanted to come in and show everybody what he's got since he's coming off of a couple losses. It just didn't go there, unfortunately. We'll hope for the best in the next fight with either of these guys, and hope for a little more action. But that fight just did not live up to its expectations. Then you get into, let's go right into Islam Makhachev versus Drew Dober. This was another fight that, I thought this fight was actually good. So I'm just going to go right into that. Islam Makhachev won by submission. And Khabib Nurmagomedov is one of his coaches and a friend of his, and was actually in his corner working with him. This guy impresses the hell out of me. I'm just going to say it. He really comes in. He's like, works the same way as Khabib, does, and basically uses a lot of same wrestling. This guy's ground game is very impressive, unstoppable. He ties you up just like Khabib does. You see a lot of Khabib in his fighting and in his style. And I think that's, something, we got to keep a real good look on this guy, because he's going to be something. He's already tearing it up. He's probably, after yesterday, probably considered to be one of the top 5 in his division. It's just, he's going to be somebody to really keep an eye on and look out for. I don't know what else to say. Funny thing is the first thing I do when I get up, and I probably shouldn't even do this because it just aggravates me, is I go on social media and I start looking at what people are saying. And, already the trolls are like, oh, here's another Khabib and here's another this. And, they're very negative. And I'm like, I just don't understand why people automatically go there. The fact of the matter is most of them are Facebook warriors or social media jockeys that basically are going to sit there and condemn people behind their computers and never stepped in a cage in their life, and don't know a damn thing about real fighting. And they're going to sit there and they're going to comment on people. Well, hey, if that's what makes you feel powerful, go right ahead. But these guys, any fighter who steps in that cage, I automatically give credit to, because that takes a hell of a lot of balls, more than most people have. So, to criticize these guys, really it really just says a lot about your character, to be honest with you. So that's all I'm going to say about that, because that's a very emotional topic for me. I hate when I see people do that, which brings us to the next fight. Aljamain Sterling versus Peter Yan. This fight is already, this morning it is the buzz, to be honest with you. This was, if you watch this fight, it was a disqualification for Peter Yan, who threw an illegal knee while Aljamain Sterling had knees on the ground. And, you know, I mean, there's a whole lot of controversy going on. We don't know exactly all the details yet. What we do know is that it looked like it was an intentional illegal knee. And it was hard. I watched it. I watched it like 3 or 4 times. It was a hard knee, no doubt. You know, and then right away this morning, people are like, oh, give him an Academy Award to Aljamain Sterling. Well, you know what? You don't know. You got hit in the face, in the head with a knee from that range while you're on the ground. You know, hey, I'm not. You know, it's one of those things, man. You know, you just don't know until you're in that situation. But you know, I will tell you, I don't believe for 1 second Aljamain Sterling wanted to take a title that way and would back down like that and play it up to that degree. I don't think so. And I think Peter Yan really needs to look at the rules and understand. I mean, his corner, from what I understand, gave him the advice to strike at that point with the knee and throw it. And, you know, that's terrible advice. And if I was him right now, I'd be firing my entire corner if that's the advice they gave me and I followed it. And then he really needs to look at himself on that one. I mean, I'm not going to go and troll. I'm not in his shoes. I don't know what the confusion was like. I mean, it's a big fight on a huge card, a lot of pressure. You know, once again, put yourself in somebody else's shoes, understand where they're coming from if you really want to get into it. And, you know, all these Facebook warriors out there, get in the damn cage, go out there and fight, see what it feels like, and then start to make these judgment calls and get all harsh. But don't sit behind your damn computer and be a little wussy. And, you know what I mean. Anyway, so, and then you get into Amanda Nunes versus Megan Anderson. Amanda Nunes, phenomenal. Like I said, once again, it's kind of what I expected. I think we called it the other day. You know, me and Ray were basically talking about this fight. And, you know, Megan's a great fighter. She's a tall girl. She's got the height advantage. But something about Amanda Nunes, she just is not stoppable right now. I mean, she has literally cleared out that entire division. You know, there's nobody in that division that's going to be able to take her out. I don't know who else is next for her. I mean, there's somebody training somewhere in the world that may be able to come out and give her a fight. I don't know where that is. Not at 145 in the UFC right now. She made very quick work of Megan Anderson. It was just that you could tell everybody has that same look when they get hit by Amanda Nunes, is they get that deer caught in headlights look once they get that first shot. And that was no different yesterday. Megan Anderson got hit by Amanda and looked like, you know, at that point, her eyes were real wide and like, oh my God. And I think she just got, you know, she got beat by the best. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Megan Anderson's an amazing fighter. Amanda Nunes is just the GOAT. I mean, she's the best, the greatest of all time. There's not even an argument there that Amanda Nunes is the greatest female combat sports athlete probably in history, in my opinion. I mean, that's my opinion, but definitely right now, you know, she's the greatest out there and nobody could touch her in that 145 division. There's nobody even that could challenge her. I think the only thing for Amanda now is to go back down in weight to 135 and Valentina come up to 135 and they face each other for that title belt. I think that's the only fight that makes any sense for her right now. That the question is, does Valentina want to do that? That'll be a third fight. Now, if you know anything about their history, Amanda Nunes and Valentina Shevchenko fought twice before. Amanda came, you know, and won both of those fights. The last one by a slim margin. I believe it went to decision. I may be mistaken. I've seen so many fights that I'm not sure, but I believe that went all the way. But it, you know, and I think it could have went either way, to be honest with you. It was close. So, you know, you get into, you know, what makes sense. That's the only fight to me that makes sense because they're both different fighters now. You know, Amanda's come a long way and so is Valentina. They both come into their own. They're both champions in their divisions. I think that makes the most sense for her going forward as a next fight. And then we go into the Main event of the evening. This is Jan Blachowicz versus Blachowicz. Sorry, I keep mispronouncing that. I don't know why. Versus Israel Adesanya. Everybody expected Israel to come in and just kind of pick him apart. I think that was the consensus going into this fight. It did not really happen that way. Blachowicz won this fight by a decision. And rightfully so. I think he did a great job. Aljamain, or not Aljamain, Israel is an amazing athlete, probably one of the best strikers on the planet. But it was kind of back and forth for a while, and I think what did it for Blachowicz was the takedown, and getting in there and taking that fight basically where he wanted it to go. I mean, he was playing into Adesanya's game for a little while, and then kind of started pushing him against the cage. And I think that's where it started to go his way. When he started to take that dominant approach, and it's just the way it goes sometimes. So there you go. That's the rundown for UFC 259. We're gonna wrap this up, close this chapter. Please, if you're one of those trolls out there, please stop. Don't be stupid. It's just these guys are all amazing athletes. They deserve respect. I'm not sure you do, but they do. So, just put that in perspective for a minute. All right. And we'll see you next time at Xtreme Lyfe.